Plano 911 with address number, please.
Hi, I think somebody got shot in front of the Benihana in Plano.
What's the address?
He was 5800 Legacy Circle. I live there, but it's the mini mart where the Benihana is in Plano. I don't know if someone shot him.
Did you actually see it?
No, the car has crashed into the tree, and I think someone rolled by, shot him, and he drove off. Tell me what to do.
Okay, I need you to get by him and tell me if he's awake or if he's breathing.
No, he's dying. He's dying.
Plano police officers arrive within just a few minutes, and they find a white Mercedes sedan crashed into a tree. When they arrived, the vehicle was still running. They found a male in the driver's seat, slumped over. The airbags had deployed, but there was blood everywhere. They believed that he had suffered a gunshot wound to his temple, but somehow, miraculously, was still showing signs of life at that time. The male was identified as Stephen Christopher Gambles, Jr.
He's rushed to the hospital. Investigators swarm the scene, canvassing the area for clues.
Having a shooting at the Shops of Legacy is unusual. It's a very safe place. It's filled with businesses, restaurants, corporations, places to live, and it's kind of the heart of our city. Upon my arrival to the crime scene, the first thing I'm seeing is that our patrol officers have a large scene taped off, and I see a white Mercedes that has crashed into a tree. Inside, I can see a large amount of blood. I can see an orange hat laying on the center console. And I see that there's damage to the front windshield and that something significant has happened inside of this vehicle. Underneath the driver's seat, we do locate a cartridge casing from a spent round that came from a 9mm gun. We do not find any gun inside of the Mercedes when we're looking at it. No, I need to call out our crime scene investigators, and they're going to focus on looking for fingerprints. They're going to swab inside the car for DNA. They're going to swab outside the car for DNA. The shooting happened around 11:23 p.m., and the area is starting to slow down about that time on a Wednesday night. However, there were several witnesses that were lingering around, and we were able to follow up with. I did identify a witness who had actually been walking by the Mercedes when the gunshot went off. He saw a subject approach the driver's side window of the Mercedes. He was wearing a yellow reflective vest, like a security guard, and that he thought he heard something along the lines of the security guard asking the driver of the Mercedes for a smoke. One witness identifies a black male. I wasn't able to find any witnesses who had a very clear view of the suspect's face, and I certainly didn't have any witnesses that could pick him out of a lineup.
Just steps from the crime scene, investigators find several CCTV cameras. Experts review the footage, and what appears on the screen reveals a chilling truth.
The main view that we were able to use to see the most was actually inside the store, kind of overlooking the register. You could see out front to where people would be driving or parking in front of the store, and that was the best view that we had.
And at 8:59 p.m., a few hours before the murder, we can see Stephen's white Mercedes pull up and park directly here in front of the mini mart. Just sits there for a moment. At approximately 9:01 p.m., we do see a female approach the vehicle.
She walked up towards the car like she was waiting for someone, and then walked out of camera frame towards the restaurants around the corner.
We then see that one individual gets out of the Mercedes from the driver's seat. He's wearing this orange cap and a white jacket, and this cap does look consistent to what I'd seen inside of the vehicle. I'm piecing together the timeline of Stephen. What time does he arrive? Who does he meet? Where does he go?
The mart's CCTV offers no clear view. Investigators, disappointed, turn to the roadside security cameras, hoping for answers.
We go to around 9:01 p.m. we're able to see that, yes, that is Stephen who gets out of the driver's door of the Mercedes, and that he is, in fact, meeting the female associate who walked up earlier.
They were having a conversation, and then they walk off together out of camera view.
Was she the last person with Stephen? Could she have had anything to do with Stephen's death? Or could she just be a witness that could really help us with the investigation? About 2 hours later, about 11:10 p.m., we see Stephen and the female associate approaching from the direction that they had walked off to.
She's carrying like a to-go cup and a to-go bag from a restaurant.
They walk past Stephen's car. They're comfortable with each other. There's about 13 minutes of time that elapsed before we then see Stephen walking back to his car, and he's by himself this time. And he gets inside and shuts the door. And then just moments later, you do see an individual wearing a reflective security guard jacket, and he is approaching the car in the driver's side window. The security guard is intentionally trying to get Stephen's attention. Stephen does just roll down his window and talk to the security guard. The security guard then pulls a gun, steps towards him, and fires a single shot. Stephen's car, which must have been placed in drive by Stephen prior, continues to drive forward and crashes into the tree. After that single shot is fired, the suspect turns and runs away, and I can see him fleeing on foot, running straight to the north. He's wearing the yellow reflective vest. He appears to be wearing a black hoodie, and he's wearing black pants as well as black shoes. The man had some object covering his face, which made it where you couldn't readily identify exactly who he was.
We were able to see that this person was in the area earlier in the evening. He's there for like 2 hours. Just a little loop between the mini mart and the victim's car. You can see the word security on the back of his jacket. Holy cow, we've got a security guard gone rogue. What in the world would make him target this guy?
I did receive a phone call from the detectives at the hospital. Stephen Gambles had succumbed to his wounds. We're now working a homicide. The stakes are high now. Who is responsible for this murder? How do we go from a security guard patrolling the property to now murdering in cold blood? This doesn't make any sense at all.
Investigators visit Stephen's home.
When detectives responded to the last known address for Stephen Gambles, we made contact with his brother Marcus. Marcus had been visiting from out of town for the past few days. Stephen's parents lived out of town. Marcus, he's immediately calling them.
Hey, Skrill, what's happening?
Skrill, that's the nickname I call him. I said, what are you doing? You know I'm at work. He said, Mom, no. He said, my brother is gone. My brother is dead. But of course, I lost it. What on earth are you talking about? Because I just talked to Stephen.
So I could tell in his voice that it was something catastrophic. So immediately I'm on the way, I catch a flight, but I want to know what had happened to my son.
Investigators track down the security guard. He works for Gold Fortress Security, and what they learn about him is horrifying.
They identified the guard as Dominic Gatlin. One of the logs indicated that shortly after 11 p.m., short time period before the murder, the security guard had checked in at a business about 100 meters from where the murder happened.
The security manager tells investigators the guard resigned right after the incident.
Why would a security guard, knowing he's assigned to that property on camera, commit a murder? But we absolutely needed to find him. The logs put him in the area, and now he's telling the supervisor, I quit my job? Suspicious. Myself and Detective John respond to Dominic's residence. It was about 30 minutes away down in Dallas. He is the security guard who was supposed to be on the property. He was cordial. He came out and spoke to us. He denies knowing anything about the shooting, says that he didn't shoot anybody, and doesn't have any information for me in regards to who the shooter could be. I'm skeptical. I show him pictures of the surveillance video.
He denies any role, and investigators clear him as a suspect. Back at the station, they review every CCTV near the shooting scene, uncovering horrifying truths.
I'm able to see a lot of movements of the suspect as he's walking around doing his fake patrolling.
There he is.
Around 10:42 p.m., he approaches Stephen Gamble's car, finds it unlocked, and he actually gets inside of the vehicle. You can see him appear to take something from the center console area of the car and place that inside of his jacket. A minute goes by. We see the suspect get out of the car, and he starts walking around again. A period of time later, the suspect revisits the car, and we can actually see him open up the back door handle. And he gets fully inside of the back seat and closes the door. I'm watching to about 11:10 p.m. And then I'm startled. I see Stephen and his female associate, and they start walking down the sidewalk, approaching the vehicle. It was an absolute chilling moment knowing that the suspect is in the back seat of Stephen's car. It's about a minute goes by, and we see the suspect get out of the back seat of the car. He then proceeds to continue kind of trolling around the property, fixated on Stephen. This very well could have been a double homicide and not just one person. And I was super thankful that Stephen took the time to walk that female to her car. It was clear that Stephen had spent some time with the female, and we hadn't been able to identify her yet in the investigation, so we absolutely needed to talk to her.
Investigators track down a young woman from that night. They press her for answers, and the truth finally comes out.
I did want to just kind of go over something to see if you could be helpful with us on something, okay? And I want to see if you recognize anyone in this picture.
Yes.
Okay. What do you recognize in that picture?
Myself, of course, absolutely, and Tim.
She did confirm that that was in fact her in the video. Chantel described her relationship with Stephen, said they'd been friends for about a year, and that they would frequently go out to dinner together.
See, do you remember that night?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Where did y'all go out to eat that night?
Benihana's.
Okay. Did you guys have any problems with anybody?
No.
Any conflict at all that night?
No, not between us, not with anybody else.
I did ask her if she had seen a security guard in the area.
I want to say I saw the attire, the outfit.
Okay.
I thought it was just, regular routine security, someone doing their job.
And after they had dinner together, Stephen walked her to her car, and she went home. There's not any additional clues of conversations that they had, anyone else that they had talked to.
Investigators reveal Stephen was murdered that night, and confirm she had no involvement. Investigators review every surveillance camera near the crime scene. Then, one frame appears, showing a suspect that shocks everyone.
And all of a sudden, at 11:29 p.m., boom, we see a suspect running up the stairs to this complex. This could be the guy.
On the footage, a man appears, wearing a mask and a backpack, but no security guard jacket.
This timing of the suspect running up the stairs is absolutely matching the time that our killer would have made it to that area. I'm extremely elated at this moment. This person that I'm seeing on the camera, wow, this could be my suspect. I spent some time looking at the hoodie that the man running up the stairs was wearing, and I could recognize that it was a Thrasher brand hoodie, which is a unique look. I do remember that there was a black hoodie being worn by the suspect during the murder. This person that I'm seeing on the camera, wow, if this is the killer and he's running upstairs to a second floor apartment, that means earlier in the night, he would have had to come down these stairs. And then shortly after 9 o'clock, oh my gosh, eureka. We see a subject coming down the stairs. He's wearing a yellow security guard jacket. It is the jacket that our killer is wearing later in the night. At this point, I'm 100% confident that I have the killer on camera and that it is the same person running up the stairs wearing the Thrasher hoodie at 11:29 p.m. But putting a name to the killer is an absolute critical part of this investigation. We identified from that police report that a Jordan Jacobs had been connected to a domestic incident inside that building, along with the female Jasmine Brooks. We're taking a look at what do they look like? Are they consistent with the person we see in the multiple surveillance videos? Myself and Specialist Meyer continue. What else can we learn about people inside the building? At 8:56 p.m., 2 hours before the murder happened, we see a male and a female walking down the stairs. We see that the male is wearing a black hoodie. The male is wearing a Thrasher hoodie. He appears to look directly at the surveillance camera. From that camera view with the male looking directly at the camera and the information that I had about research on Jordan Jacobs, I can definitively say he is Jordan Jacobs. We learned that he and his girlfriend had prior employment for a company called Trident Security, and they provided pictures of the jackets that their officers wear. We were able to see that the surveillance video security guard jacket matched the actual Trident Security jackets. Well, at this point, we're extremely confident Jordan Jacobs is our killer, but it still makes no sense. Why does he approach and kill Stephen Gambles? As we're continuing to review the surveillance video, Jordan Jacobs and his girlfriend leave the apartment building for 10 minutes, several hours before the murder. And we're trying to focus, okay, where did they go during that time? Detective Jung actually makes the connection, and I completely missed this, but she pointed out that, hey, there is a man wearing a Thrasher hoodie walking directly by Stephen Gambles when he first arrived to the property earlier that night.
At 8:59 p.m. Jasmine Brooke enters the store. Just behind her is Jordan Jacobs. By 9 p.m. they leave together, walking past Gambles and his friend.
We now have our killer walking a few feet by Stephen Gambles before he dies. It's still not answering the question of why did Jordan Jacobs go back and kill Stephen Gambles?
We've reviewed that footage a few times, looking for any kind of interaction between the two men. I don't even think there was a glance between them. They just passed each other.
We had our murderer on video the entire time and had no idea. My killer has a name. My killer is Jordan Jacobs, and we're gonna get him.
After reviewing the footage, investigators move fast, rushing to arrest Jordan Jacobs.
Our SWAT team is able to arrest Jordan Jacobs without incident. They take him into custody, and then he's transported to the Plano City Jail.
Can I confirm your first and last name? Jordan Jacobs. They say there's a warrant for my arrest. I haven't did anything or anything, so they got me mixed up because of another Jordan Jacobs.
Jordan immediately wants me to know that, hey, this could be some possible mix-up. He's had problems with other people using his name before, Jordan Jacobs, and maybe this is all just a big misunderstanding. And I know that's not the case.
You obviously recognize the female in the picture. Yeah. Okay. Who do you recognize that as? Okay. That's your girlfriend. Okay. Do you recognize the person below in that picture? That's me.
And he right away identifies himself. That's me. That's my girlfriend. So I'm getting that first affirmative link between Jordan Jacobs and the surveillance video and getting him confirming that with his own words.
Do you recognize that picture? No. Okay. Do you recognize that jacket? I seen him walking around the apartment. Like security. Do you own a jacket like this? No. No?
Jordan denies that he's wearing the security guard jacket, says it's not him. And I don't get in an argument back and forth on whether it is him or not, because I already know at this point.
I've already identified that that's you wearing this jacket, walking around. I know it's you. I'm not doing that because I finished that fucking investigation.
I want to know what happened. Why did he kill Stephen Gambles? What was said when Jordan approached that car?
You're just walking up to the side of the car. What happens? What's the dialogue? What is said, Jordan? What does this man tell you? Oh, he was asking for a cigarette. You want a cigarette?
And at that point in the interview, Jordan Jacobs acknowledged to me that he was in fact the killer, because that information was consistent with what the witness had described. He described hearing the killer in the jacket talk to Stephen Gambles asking for a smoke. And you can start to see Jordan Jacobs slowly kind of realize that they've got me, and his tone kind of changes. He says, I don't want to talk anymore. He's ending the interview. Detective Jung assisted in interviewing Jasmine Brooke and learning more information about what happened.
Do y'all go to that mini market?
Oh, yeah.
Over there? Do you remember the last night you went there?
Yeah. He got mad at me and left. Like, he made an argument up and left.
Did you remember what that argument was about?
I went to the store. It was a couple. Jordan's very jealous. So he's like have people looking at you and stuff. And I'm like, what, dude?
And she didn't understand why Jordan Jacobs was trying to insinuate that somebody was looking at her inappropriately. She didn't see it that way at all. When they got back to the apartment, Jordan Jacobs told his girlfriend, I'm going to give that man something to look at. I'm going to go rob that man. Now we're understanding why Jordan Jacobs put on that security guard jacket. He had a plan.
Investigators reveal Stephen was murdered that night and confirm she had no involvement.
We don't find anything indicating that Jasmine was part of the actual murder offense, and we don't charge her with any criminal offenses.
Investigators search Jordan Jacobs' apartment. No security jacket, but they find the bag and black hoodie seen on CCTV.
We learned that Stephen Gambles kept a handgun inside of that car. He kept a 9mm pistol inside the center console of his vehicle. It's no longer there after Stephen Gambles is murdered. With the supporting surveillance video, you can see Jordan Jacobs appear to take something from the center console area of the car and place that inside of his jacket, which leads us to believe that Stephen was murdered with his own gun that he kept inside of that car. And forensically, we were able to identify Jordan Jacobs' DNA was on the handle of Stephen Gambles' car.
On September 26, 2022, Jordan Jacobs is charged with the murder of Stephen Gambles.
Tonight, a story that is quite tough to tell and, to be honest, might be hard to listen to. But it's the reality of two of our neighbors here in Lubbock, two people that have given their all to this city, whether it be through education, ministry, or even community activism. What they endured last summer is something most people wouldn't wish on their worst enemies. But recently, on September 28th, some closure. Stephen Sr., you heard there, is a local minister. I asked him, as a man of faith, is there anything that has given you peace or solace with this situation? He says he's reminded of a song he heard as a kid. God is a great consolator, because no matter what you go through in life, He'll always find a way to console you. Once again, a heartfelt thank you to he and Phyllis for sharing Stephen's story.
Justice was served, but it came at the cost of one precious life.
Like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories that delve deep into the heart of the human experience.